America is not a racist country.
Ladies and gentlemen, Derek Chauvin is back in court once again. This time it's for a 14-year-old black teen that he choked when he was still a police officer. And many of you might have heard about this because it came up an awful lot when he was still on trial for George Floyd. And see, this is the police department's fault because you knew what Derek Chauvin was like. You knew what he was doing. You were fine with everything until he killed George Floyd. When he murdered George Floyd, you had no choice but to pay attention to all of the things he was doing. And when he choked this teenager, it should have been dealt with immediately. But, as long as it's not a lot of public outcry, these guys like him will generally get away with it. Okay, so this is NPR, September 16th, 2021. Derek Chauvin returns to court for allegedly holding a black teen down by the throat. So, the former police officer convicted of murder in the death of George Floyd is scheduled to be arraigned Thursday for the allegedly violent civil rights of a teenager in a separate case that involved a restraint similar to the one used on Floyd. Derek Chauvin was convicted earlier this year on state charges of second degree unintentional murder, third degree murder, and second degree manslaughter in Floyd's 2020 death. He was sentenced to 22 and a half years. He's also charged in federal court with violating Floyd's civil rights. Then he knelt on the black man's neck for about 9.5 minutes as Floyd was face down on the pavement, not restraining and pleading for his life, not resisting, I meant. So, another indictment against Chauvin alleged that he carried out a similar act against then a 14-year-old boy in 2017. This indictment alleged Chauvin depraved the teenager, who is black, of his rights to be free of unreasonable force when he held the teen down by the throat, hit him in the head with a flashlight, and he held his knee on the boy's neck and upper back. Mm-mm-mm. So the teen was handcuffed and not resisting, just like in the case of George Floyd. He was handcuffed too. According to the police report from that 2017 encounter, Chauvin wrote that the teen resisted arrest. Now he's handcuffed down on the ground and he wrote he's resisting arrest. Okay. After the teen, whom described as a 6'2", about 240 pounds, was handcuffed, Chauvin used his body weight to pin him to the floor. The boy was bleeding from the ear and needed 2 stitches. The encounter was one of several mentioned in court. Yes, and there were several black men in particular that came forward and said Chauvin did the same thing to them, but they made sure they kept anything they had to say out of the George Floyd trial, which it should have been included because it would have proven that there was a clear pattern there of this man doing these kind of things. Okay. That encounter was one of several mentioned in state court filings that prosecutors had shown Chauvin used the neck or head and upper body restraint several times prior to Floyd's death, dating back to 2014, including 4 times state prosecutors said he went too far and held the restraint beyond the point where such force needed under the circumstances. At a federal arraignment hearing, defendants can have charges read to them, and not guilty pleas are typically entered. Thursday's hearing will be held remotely, video conference. So he'll be sitting in the prison in front of a video camera to give, I guess, to say whatever he needs to say. Chauvin and 3 other former officers were arraigned on civil rights violations in Floyd's case. This was this past Tuesday. All 4 pled not guilty to those charges. And as you remember in the video I did yesterday, they are looking to have separate trials. And I don't believe any of them should have a separate trial. They all need to be tried together. Floyd repeatedly said he couldn't breathe as Chauvin pinned him down to the ground. King and Lane helped restrain Floyd. King knelt on Floyd's back, and Lane, he was on his leg. Tao was holding back bystanders that kept them from intervening. So we know what happened. So I'm kind of glad that they're getting around to this case, but this should not be the only one. They really need to open up all of the cases where he went overboard using a restraint on people that it should never have been used, restraining someone by the neck and all that, putting your knee on their neck and back and all that crap. He should never have done it. Plain and simple. But y'all, please tell me what you think. I hope this leads to more charges and more time behind bars, because as far as I'm concerned, Derek Chauvin is a danger in the public. He cannot be trusted, and I believe he would be a flight risk if he got out. No, let this man serve every single second of the time that he should be behind bars. For real. Y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.